Tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Kei tamaki makaurau taku kāinga, no India ahau, ko anu taku ingoa, he Migrant Workers Association o Aotearoa taku tūranga mahi. As an Indian, I can't help but talk about colonization. I think we have a very common bond here with tangata whenua and a lot of migrants from all over the world where we have had in the past and we continue to have a common colonizer and a common oppressor. It was only about 70 years ago that the British colonials, imperialists, left my home country. They physically left India, but I just want to talk about a few things that are a strong indicator that India continues to be colonized in a different kind of scenario, even though there's no physical presence there. For example, 70 years of so-called independence, but most of the laws that we have in India are from when the British were there, and those laws were put in place by them, especially land reform laws. So we continue to be colonized in that way. And the other big one, a saying goes within my community that you would be hard-pressed to find a country where you don't find an Indian. Now, if you look at it more closely, most of those countries where my brothers and sisters have spread out, they are former colonies of Britain. And listening to my grandparents, it was within 10 years of India being independent, people from my communities, especially the ones who had highly valued skills and qualifications, within a decade or two, they were going to Britain. So that was another form of capturing people of India, just displace them, take them to Britain, because it was sold to them that you would have a better life. Now that your country is free, you've gone backwards rather than going forwards, which in some ways is quite true. Hence, you see Indians all over the world in many countries trying to make a better life for themselves, better opportunities. So, in terms of migration generally, I'm a strong believer of people don't necessarily choose to leave their homeland. There's various reasons. It can be from people fleeing war-torn areas, people, like I said earlier, leaving to pursue their dreams, leaving for better opportunities in another land. I guess that's why we see a lot of migrants coming here to Aotearoa. But what a lot of people, when they see migrants or immigrants as their enemies, because it's the narrative that generally is maintained by many and also publicized by many media outlets, is that migrants come and take your jobs, migrants take your houses. In Auckland we have a housing crisis, or we have a traffic problem because we have too many migrants here. But what we forget is most of the migrants, especially the ones who are fleeing war-torn areas or who are becoming refugees, it's because it's the West or the imperial powers who have caused those kinds of conditions in their own countries. So we can't just blame migrants. We have to clearly and deeply look at why people are migrating. No one wants to migrate out of choice. It's economic conditions, wars, all sorts of crises that lead people to leave their homeland. So now, as Rachel has already pointed out, that this is not just a one-off meeting or a one-off event. This is the beginning of a long-term campaign. Love Aotearoa, hate racism. So we want to launch a positive campaign. Just because we've had two far-right racists coming to this country, about to deliver their hate speech and infect others with the sort of hatred they carry, it doesn't mean that we should just oppose them and protest them and then stop. We need to keep going, because that is just one face of racism that we see, but then there's many other faces that we need to look at. For example, we have institutionalized racism in this country. You would all have heard about deportations recently, unfair deportations. With the support of Auckland Unitarian Church last year and many other organizations, trade unions and other faith groups, the Catholic Church, and many other social activists, we were able to support a group of Indian students last year who were unfairly deported, and that fight continues. We haven't given up. We will keep going until those students get justice. You know, but we have Vikram here in the audience with us. He's still waiting for his wife and his young daughter to be returned. That is racism at its worst and deepest. So that's institutionalized racism that we will fight through this new campaign that we are launching here today. What else can I say? And also ideas on how to fight. Joe has already mentioned that, you know, we should have a kapa haka so loud that Molyneux and Southern can't be heard by their supporters, but I want to take it to the next level, that we should showcase the multicultural diversity we have here. I think we should get together all the different groups, and we should showcase all our dances and singing and whatever else we can, so that we totally drown them with the ethnic diversity and multiculturalism we have here in Aotearoa. Kia kaha.